The Democratic Party is still reeling following Donald Trump's victory over Kamala Harris, with many insiders puzzling over just how he pulled it off. Now that the dust has settled, there's one controversial detail about his victory that actually totally makes sense. Trump's popular vote win in 2024 was the tightest since the election in 2000. By statistician Nate Silver's math, the vote breaks down to 49.8% for Trump, 48.4% for Kamala Harris, hardly an overwhelming lead. But there is no sugarcoating it. Trump decisively won the Electoral College.
The final electoral vote count, Trump 312 to Vice President Harris's 226.
The Democratic Party has just begun the painful process of figuring out how, and a drop in voting from prior elections among a key group is at least part of the answer. Hard as it is to hear for some, compared to 2020, Democratic turnout was significantly diminished in 2024. The New York Times reported that almost 2 million fewer voters from Democratic strongholds participated in the election, and the fallout occurred across all demographics. Bad as that is, there are other key contributing factors worth noting. First up, Harris only entered the race 107 days before the election. President Joe Biden remained the candidate for more than half of 2024, despite repeated warnings that he was likely to lose and hurt Democrats down the ballot, and despite clear sentiment among voters that he was too old for the job.
We finally beat Medicare.
Biden's dropping out and Harris's ascension to the top of the ticket did inject some badly needed enthusiasm into the Democratic campaign, but by late October, there were reports that that energy was dissipating. One brutal bullet point in those reports? The ill-conceived decision to chase potential disaffected Republicans by campaigning so prominently with Liz Cheney. Popular messaging from early in Harris's run was also discarded for more centrist, corporate-friendly material.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
The fields of battle may also have been a factor. Democrats put their resources into traditional advertising concentrated in swing states, while the Republicans directly coordinated with outside groups and racked up earned publicity through podcasts and social media.
We're rolling. Good to see you, sir. Here we go.
Another major factor is the lingering effect of the inflation spike after the COVID-19 pandemic. It's fueled swings away from incumbent parties across the democratic world, toppling or weakening parties on the left and the right.
But that's what happened. This is inflation.
But the economic messaging by the Harris campaign, or the lack thereof, may have helped depress turnout among traditionally Democratic groups, particularly young people. Though the Biden administration managed several notable pieces of legislation addressing the economic concerns of Americans, that message struggled to break through. Messaging failures and policy decisions surrounding the conflict in Gaza also may have depressed Democratic turnout.
And the president and I are working around the clock every day to get that ceasefire deal done.
Significant numbers of young people in battleground states protested the current state of affairs in the Gaza conflict, and the response from the Harris campaign was widely seen as too guarded and insufficient.
The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements.
One polling director named Gaza as one of the salient issues diminishing voter enthusiasm in an article for The Times, enthusiasm that Harris desperately needed to pull off a win.